So I'm just, through the magic of remotes, I'm going to reload this page here. That's pretty good. Big image. OK, yeah, now we're waiting for the web fonts. Okay. Oh, OK, good. There we are. Whew. That was actually pretty good, a pretty good experience for a lot of us. Now, I'm not trying to make the point that the Fluent website could be better. It probably could be, but I'm not busting on them in particular. It was just a handy visual hook. Lots of us have that experience on the web, in a lot of different devices. And basically, what I'm here to say today is that's kind of a problem, and we could be doing better. And I hope that we will be doing better in the future. And a lot of the problem, honestly, seems to be with, as Simon said, the latest change that is washing over our shores, or in some cases, over our heads. And in some ways, I think of it as being exemplified by this tweet. Now, I redacted the name of the framework because, A, I didn't want it to make it look like I was saying that that particular framework was uniquely bad. And also because, because that particular framework isn't uniquely bad. Lots of JavaScript frameworks are actually really bad at doing the web. So whether that's Ember or Meteor or Angular or React or whatever it is that we're messing with today, this is just generally a problem. This website doesn't load properly. That's a solved problem. Loading websites is a pretty solved problem. Yes, there are a lot of implementation details. There are a lot of things to worry about. But getting a website to load is not that big a deal. And breaking the back button, there's really not very much excuse for that. Now, I get that people who are developers like to develop, right? Developers going to develop. I do not have a meme slide for that. But I see this sort of attitude a fair amount. And taking nothing away from Joe, I love Firebug. In fact, I still have Firebug installed. I keep it going even though the web inspector exists. This is a really odd statement to make. iOS and Windows are operating systems. HTML is an ASCII file. Now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that what Joe really meant to say here was it's hard not to be disappointed by the web, if you've developed for other mature platforms as I have. OK, fair enough. I could also claim that it's really hard not to be disappointed by my son's Matchbox cars because I've flown an F-18. Not to say that the web is a Matchbox car and iOS or Windows are an F-18 in terms of capability, but certainly in terms of complexity, HTML and the web are really pretty simple. We keep making it more difficult and more complex. And then there's this from Tom Dale. No, sorry, wrong. This might not be the best room to make that statement and still remain popular, but JavaScript is part of the web. Sure. But yes, you do get to take it away and expect the web to work. There are exactly 3 things I can think of that you can't take away from the web: HTTP, HTML, and a piece of software that will look at those, that will consume those 2 and give you something, a web browser or a user agent. That's it. I've been doing CSS for almost 2 decades now. I would absolutely say you can take CSS away and expect the web to work. It will look different, but I don't care. The web will still work. And I feel the same way about JavaScript. And I think the problem that's happening here is actually in the first part of this statement. JavaScript is part of the web platform. The web platform. The web is not a platform, he said at Fluent, the web platform conference. I'm just going to leave that up there next to the banner so everyone can get a nice picture of the juxtaposition. The web is not a platform. No, don't change the slides. Thank you. Good thing that still works. OK, the web is not a platform. The web was explicitly designed to be cross-platform. The whole point of the web is that it is platform independent. So trying to turn it into a platform is honestly kind of a mistake. The web is not a platform. And so I'm just going to make the point here. Oh, sorry, wrong button. The web is not a platform. So I'm just going to set that on fire and do away with it. The web is not a platform. The web is a spectrum or a continuum, if you like. As Tim Berners-Lee said at the Olympics, or as he typed at the Olympics, this, meaning the web, is for everyone, not just the people who have the absolute latest browser and live bathed in Wi-Fi to the point that their sweat is digitized. The web is not for the people who live in this city alone. It's not for people who have gigabit. It's not for people, it's not just for, I mean, it is for those people. It's not just for those people. It's not just for people who have JavaScript running. This is the first web page ever, on the first website ever. And this is the first sentence of the first page on the first server ever. And I would like to point out, if you were paying close attention to the heading there, it had World Wide Web with spaces between the words worldwide and web. But then in the first sentence, there are no spaces. This should provide a clue as to the nature of the medium. But this is the mission statement of the web. And the thing that I want to point out as being, I don't know, fundamental here are these words. This is what the web is designed to do. These are the fundamental design principles of the web. I mean, I could have even called out the large universe of documents part. We still talk about single-page websites. And you know, when we're trying to describe what a web app is. Because pages, documents, but universal access is absolutely what the web is about. That means that this is the web. And this is the web. Also NCSA Mosaic, which, by the way, was released 22 years ago today. Yeah. This is the web. And this is the web. And this is the web. And, oh yeah, this is the web. This is also the web, suitably black or blued out. This is not the web. This is, in fact, a screenshot that I took in my web browser. It's the homepage of Instagram when JavaScript didn't load. That's all it took. Now, if you've ever been to the homepage of Instagram, and I wasn't even logged into Instagram because I don't actually have an Instagram account, it's a splash page, and it says, come get our app that we developed for platforms. This is not the web. This is not the web either. Yeah, if you go to bustle.com, hey, we require JavaScript to show you all these articles that we've published. Really? Basically, this is the latest version of this. Remember when the iPhone came out? And Steve Jobs said, we're not putting Flash on it. And Adobe was like, get used to the blue Legos. Well, where's Flash now? It's the same as this. For those of you who are, like me, old enough to remember this. When we were developing websites for 2 different browsers. Not because we had to, but because people thought that every website has to look the same in every web browser. No, that's not even true today. We still get these. Upgrade your browser. It's like watching your browser is so old, or the user agent string of your browser we didn't notice, we didn't recognize. It's like watching TV in black and white. Try something new. Here's the thing about TV in black and white. If I'm getting analog TV, I can still see it if I have a black and white TV. With digital, if I don't have enough signal, I get nothing. Instagram, or the Meteor homepage, for that matter. Because, as I say, the web does not value consistency. The web values ubiquity. This is what Flash was the other way. Flash was all about consistency, and they tried to make it ubiquitous. The web is far more ubiquitous than that. Here's the homepage of CNN. I did not do anything to make this happen. I just happened to hit the homepage of CNN one day, and this is what loaded. Like, everything else had broken. Guess what? Still a website. I could still go and read the articles. It still functioned as a website. It's very long. It would take me a while to scroll, but I could still get there. It doesn't look like this, and in some ways I think that was probably a blessing. But it still worked. Now, this was an article published on Medium recently, which I should point out works just fine if you've turned off your JavaScript or CSS. But the top takeaway in this article was, some sites never loaded. And I didn't do a pull quote, but he says, I can't help thinking that those were single-page JavaScript apps whose loading script wasn't prepared for the conditions and timed out. He had not turned off anything. He was just in an Eastern European country where he had almost no bandwidth. And on some sites, the text was invisible for a frustratingly long time because CSS is also giving us ways to break the web by saying, we can have custom web fonts now. Let's have everything in this custom web font. And then we didn't optimize it, so it takes forever to download the font. And then he said, well-designed apps worked wonderfully. The web prizes ubiquity over consistency. In fact, ubiquity pretty much equals inconsistency. There's no way around that. Now, I know that frameworks are really, they make it really convenient to develop. They make it really easy to create stuff quickly. Your convenience is not an excuse. Your convenience is not an excuse to do the web wrong. Now, this is not to say, in any way, shape, or form, that you should just never use JavaScript. That is not what I am saying. I'm saying that it needs to be used properly. This is what the web is built on: structure, presentation, behavior. And I'm actually going to reverse the order of these in order to go with the next slide, which has a nice pull quote from Derek Featherstone. Anything you can move lower down the stack, anything you can move to be more foundational, more fundamental, you should do that. And as Andy Hume said, this is what progressive enhancement is really about. It's about dealing with when the technology fails, because technology always fails. If you want to go more old school, John Postel, Postel's Law, and when we say be conservative in what you send, I don't just mean in terms of the raw number of bytes that you send out, but also in the way that you're doing things. Be conservative in how you do things. Don't push everything, don't front load everything to the most fragile part of the web technology. Or, if you want it in more of a Twitter sense, David Slade has you covered. Just don't do that. And David knows. He's created quite a few web apps. The web is enormous. And in one sense, I'm going to say that I actually lied a little bit earlier. The web is a platform. The web is a platform in this sense, in the sense of a stage. It's a place where anyone can get up, basically, and say what they want to say, share it with the world. Every website is a platform like this. And the fundamental stuff that makes that possible, things like HTML, HTTP, those are important. Those are the things that you can't give up on. CSS, sure, can make everything look nice. But if it's not there, the speaking platform exists. Every single one of us can have one of those platforms. And it might look messy and awful at first. When you look a little more closely, it's actually kind of beautiful, like a snowflake or a dandelion seed. And there's so much complexity in that. There's so much growth, and there's so much room for growth. And I hope that everyone in this room will help that growth and further that growth in as ubiquitous and accessible a way as possible. Thank you.